Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. We are happy to be presenting an action research we did at the University of Crete, which is called From Lab Reports to Multimodal Learning Artifacts. The idea behind this was that we wanted to check whether if we change the genre, the artifact, the output that we ask our students to produce, following a lab experiment, whether that would be more inclusive or not. And we're going to take you through the process of deciding what is it that you need to tweak or be aware of when you design such interventions, let's say. And you're going to decide whether it would be something you would do in your own disciplines or not. Costantino, you can start.
I can put this here,
yeah.
Somewhere here, and this somewhere here.
Yep.
Not here.
Okay, no, it's okay.
I'm bored. Okay, thanks very much. So, I'm a professor in the Department of Chemistry. So, is someone here from Natural Sciences? Okay, so I would try to be as simple as possible.
I have past training in organic chemistry.
Perfect. This is what I'm an organic chemist. I will not torture you with chemistry, but let's see. So as you know, this type of endeavors are quite difficult to assess and do in natural sciences because you are very reluctant to do something like that. And there is also the difficulties of the lab work, let's say. So, let's see if this is working. Okay, so I will tell you what I'm doing and what the experiments are going to do. So I'm doing this type of chemistry, which is called multi-component reactions. Simple ways, what is this? There are one-pot reactions, so you have basically one flask, you're doing everything there. You can use more than two starting materials. I will come back to this. And in general, this is something that explains. If you remember from your chemistry courses, whenever, you're trying to synthesize some stuff. So you are going from A to B, you have the B, from B you're going to C, D, etc., till the final adduct. Everything that we have in here is a product of chemical synthesis, okay? From our clothes, from the materials around, everything is chemistry synthesized. What I'm doing in my lab and what the students did, they did this multi-component reaction. So basically, we are trying to combine all this into the final product immediately. So 4, 5, 6 different components into one. So it saves some time. So generally, organic chemistry is something like that. So this is a target molecule, and you have to climb the mountain to find your target. And you can choose your synthesis. This depends on your knowledge, on your experience, and a lot of stuff. And it's a kind of art. So you can start with this difficult way. Sometimes you cannot even go into the upfront. You can choose another pathway. This is the linear synthesis. Linear synthesis is the one that I told you, that we're going from A to B to C, and this is 90% of the synthesis that we are doing. And there are a lot of ways, and basically, we are proposing something like that, an easy access to the top. So, in general, multi-component reactions have a lot of characteristics. Convergence, of course, we are combining 4 or 5 into one. Time, this is what we are doing. We are saving a lot of time and resources, especially nowadays. It's very easy to perform. Generally, if you remember from your movies that it's difficult, you have some high-end chemical labs with a lot of dangers. Not really here. Everyone, even you can do it. Believe me, it's true. And they are combined with some characteristics like chemical space, scaffold space. I'm not going into these details for you, but complexity diversity is very important in synthesizing molecules today. Let's keep this like that. And now, let's give you one example. This is the only one chemistry that you see today. So this is the reaction, one very classical reaction called Ugi reaction. This is a multi-component reaction. So you see here the 4 different things. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you combine it into one final adduct. Have a look now the power of multi-component reactions. Imagine that you have 40 of these different compounds. 40 of this, 40 of this, 40 of that, 40 of that. At the end, virtually, you have 40 in the power of 4, 2,500,000 reaction products. Why this is important? Time is essential. Now we can look for properties that we are like into this giant pool. Now, why multi-component reactions for students? Noteworthy, till now, no MCRs are embedded into our curriculum. So this is one effort to try to embed MCRs into undergraduate and graduate labs. Different way of thinking, first of all. Linear versus convergent. Our chemistry is very convergent. Secondly, functional group compatibility and reactivity. This is essential for every chemist and especially organic chemist. Creative problem solving. Green chemistry. You understand why is this. Green chemistry is especially today for sustainable type of chemistry and sustainable type of research. This is very important. No hazardous solvents, no inert atmospheres, no specific catalysts which are expensive. Drug design and library generation, because of the convergent character of multi-component reactions, we can assess and access libraries with molecules for drug-like properties. Bridges theory and practice. This is what we did. We tell students a few things and they're immediately doing this. And very easy to perform. The students were undergraduated, not very experienced ones. Now, how is the students? We made the call for students of mostly of the 4th year. We have 4 years in the chemistry department via Google Forms. We have a questionnaire on name, nationality, personal pronoun, mother, father occupation, name of parents. This is because we want to be as inclusive as possible. So we try to include students with diverse cultural backgrounds, financial status, as much as you could ask without being very... exactly. So we chose 15 students, and mostly 10 out of 10 was 5th semester for the year. Nationality, most Greek, Cyprus, French, and Albanian. Country, Greece, Cyprus, Crete, not many. Islanders from different islands of Greece, and mainland, of course. And financial status, we chose students with parents unemployed, farmers, construction workers, householders, but as diverse as possible. Now, what was our workflow? We made the call, we selected students, we explained and discussed the multimodal assignments with Kaya. We made the lab work for 2 days. Then we made the first video generation. Kaya will explain you a little bit better what's going on here. They evaluate the first video, then they generate a second video based on their lab work, of course. And now we're in the process of making interviews and seeing what they understood and what this whole procedure will go on. Now, the lab experience. Basically, students did 4 different reactions. And there were 5 teams of 3 students. And I will not go into these details. This is the general type of chemistry of reaction. This is what exactly they did. And they also see precipitation of products, monitoring the reaction, setup of this. This is real photos from the day in the lab. Then they did another reaction, different reactions, or multi-component reactions, different way, different though. And we chose also this type of reaction. This is lidocaine. So they also synthesized a drug. Lidocaine, everyone from strepsils to Salonpas, it's a local anesthetic. Even if you go to dentistry, you have an injection of lidocaine or a type of caine. And so they also see a drug. Some other type of reactions, old reactions, Italian type of reaction, Viginelli or Biginelli. And different here photos of people here doing, also making some photos. different experimental procedures. And the fourth experiment was this, again an old type of reaction, quite easy. And they also did this. Now, these are some photos of the groups there. We wrote some instructions of what they will do. They were working in the fume hoods, and this is from those days. And now, Kaya, I think the floor is yours.
Thank you. That was this was a nice context. I guess you got the context of our work, because it's important to understand what is it that we had to deal with. And I just want to explain why we did this multimodal assessment. We decided to ask students not to produce lab reports like you normally do after you perform an experiment, but to create a video of their work. And the video had to follow certain criteria, but we didn't want to be very prescriptive and very normative, so we were quite clever, we thought, in opening up possibilities with very generic guidelines, and then we would ask students at some point to provide peer feedback and normalize what the expected outcome should be. The idea behind this is because traditional assessment disregards the fact that people learn by doing things in the lab, and then we ask them to write something down in a linear fashion, whereas these reactions, the whole concept is not linear, right? So, and we thought we are going to give them the opportunity to express themselves using diverse modes, because in our mind, this would be inclusive for multilingual, neurodiverse, or more creative students. And basically, they would be able to show us what they've known. So these are the theories behind the whole design. The multiliteracies theory, which is an epistemological model, really. It's not a pedagogical model. And it just basically shows about the different schemas and the different modes that people can use to express their understanding or express their, show student agency. And situated learning, where they learn in context. Semiotic affordances, where basically they're not constrained by the written report, which requires different skills, and they were not taught before necessarily. And the inclusive assessment part, which was the fact that we thought multimodal options empower multilingual, neurodiverse, and creative learners. Now I think we should show you the first video.
We can click it.
And see our reaction.
Okay. No, before I say that, I'm going to show you a video, and I want you to split yourself, divide yourselves in groups, if you don't mind. 3 groups or 4 groups would be fine. So let's do that before we start, so that you're ready, because I want you to be in your groups. And as soon as you watch this video, I would like to think like an instructional designer. I want you to think of, this is one of the videos that our students produce, but it could be one video that we could have downloaded from YouTube, for example. And what I want you to do is, when you watch the video, I want you to discuss with others in your group, what do you think are the strengths of such a video as a product? And what criteria you would use to assess this video? Because there is a tricky part there. And this is what I want to make you realize, how difficult it is to make that shift from the traditional genre, which is the lab report in our case, let's say, to multimodal artifacts, because we are not trained. We don't know what to look for and what to assess. And sometimes we kind of try to assess it by using the criteria that we would use for a lab report still, whereas that's not the only option there. We have many more options. So are you divided in groups? Have you got your group ready? Okay. How many groups have we got? 1, 2. Would you like to join Peter? Peter, would you like to join Tina, Eleni, Maria, and work together? Okay, so, yeah.
I can switch to your place.
Yeah, yeah, it's easier to go this way. Okay, now I think we can watch the video, but please remember the questions. The questions are, what are the strengths of such videos? What criteria would you use to assess this video? And what would excellence look like? If you think in terms of performativity, which is not what we like, but if you do think in terms of that, what would excellence look like for you? And we would like you to write down 4 or 5 criteria in your group, and we would like you to think beyond accuracy. So that's a definite. We want them to be accurate about what really happened. But think beyond accuracy, and I'm not going to tell you what would that be. So, are you ready? Shall I start? If you don't remember the questions, you might as well take a picture of the questions so that you can remind your group members what was the task about. And now I will go back and
MCR reactions are organic reactions that take place in a single vessel with more than 2 reactants, aiming to form a product that incorporates nearly all the atoms of the starting materials. Some key characteristics of MCR reactions include synthetic efficiency, mild reaction conditions, and waste reduction. Some examples of MCRs are for the Hasinger reaction. This is the methodology we use. In a 25 milliliters round bottom flask placed in an ice bath, we add 0.1 per g of sodium hydrosulfide and 0.45 milliliters of acetone. Afterwards, we add 0.85 milliliters of ammonium hydroxide salt to water. Then, we close the flask's lid and mix until the nut dissolves. Once a homogeneous solution is obtained, we attach an addition funnel to the flask and gradually add 0.3 milliliters of colloid solvent. Every 2 minutes, we add 2 to 3 drops of colloid solvent to the flask until the entire solution is. Once all the colloid solvent has been added, we remove the ice bath and allow the mixture. The chemical reaction is stirred for 35 minutes at room temperature. When the reaction is complete, we add dichloromethane to dissolve the mixture and transfer it to a separation funnel. We then extract the organic phase twice with water, and once with a supersaturated, brine solution. Next, we extract the aqueous phase 3 times, with dichloromethane to recover any material that may have transferred from the organic phase to the aqueous phase. After completing the extractions, we combine the organic phases and dry them by adding in hydrous sodium sulfate. The mixture is then filtered using filter paper, and the solution is collected in a flask. Finally, we remove the solvent using a rotary vacuum distiller to obtain the pure product.
Yeah, let's stop it, yeah? Yeah, not show another one. Okay, so that was the video, and we would like you to think in your groups what were the strengths, what were the criteria, and what would excellence be for you, given the fact that we're talking about the chemistry lab.
Just a reminder, as Kaya said, there were no guidelines for these videos. Students just did the experiments and create themselves the video.
We showed
with
them.
no experience, and they are chemistry students, okay?
We showed them one video from Jove. I don't know if you are aware of Jove, that recreates all the science content in multimodal ways and presents research papers with videos and not papers, and they do count as papers now because they are peer-reviewed. So there's a switch already in the literature for the hard sciences. And also, we showed them one of that and one random one that was more like a TikTok video on purpose. And we said, we asked them to do the same as you, compare and contrast which video do you think is the best and what would be the best combination for when you create your own videos. So we didn't prescribe, we just triggered, their reflection, but we didn't really go into the mode of giving them criteria to start with. That happened later on. So.
Okay.
My position is that strength. I agree with now we're challenging
I said they're also put in the words 40 milligrams of that substance, 20 milligrams of other substance. So there was some support of different text supporting the school text. And also the adjustments, visualization, so you can imagine what was happening.
special the special effects in the filming, like the short video style was very good.
You can see the different materials. You can see if they are liquid.
They had a time frame very short actually. It was they conducted the experiment on Tuesday and they had to submit the video on Thursday. In that lengthwise. No, we didn't. What we told them to be short. We didn't want them to be too big. We said 3 minutes. This one was 5.
Once you are doing normally,
I thought it was fast for me because I'm a novice viewer. Everything went like a fast forward.
I'm mixing the
And I think
yeah, this one is
How they did this process. Like they showed first I did this and I did this. I don't know.
You think that's important that
Yeah.
they show the process?
Yeah.
that's
Procedure. It's a procedure and theory together.
Maybe then at the end to recap. Do a recap, maybe?
yeah, sure.
Yeah. Maybe that's changed better.
Yes. I mean, if you think of criteria, you should also think of things they haven't done.
Yes.
That you could assess.
Because
If
all of
that
the-
video wasn't good enough, what would you do to make it better? So in that way, you can think of more criteria.
Yeah, the method is like they make a video after having done this
Yes, they
experiment.
conducted the experimental
Who is their
video.
audience? Is it the other groups
The audience is chemistry students.
who haven't done
They
the?
haven't done the experiment.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's really to like convey, tell others how.
What they've
This
done,
video was
yeah.
for-
And how to do it,
Okay.
and why they did it. We said to do all this, but I should have that.
Because there's no why part.
There's no why.
Work because I think that was one of your feelings.
Quella lei, fuori il poco
That's what I'm saying. So then, yeah.
Somehow like this.
Somewhere. So remember that this. Don't forget to see this.
You just call that
Tips.
tips. And also we go around the couple, 3 or 2 things.
Yeah, because I thought if there's a
Dino, do you want to go to this group as well? Or this one? I think we have 3 or 4 minutes. Ευχαριστούμε, να είσαι καλά. Τώρα. Ναι.
Yes, we were just wondering with the audience, something else.
No, τώρα μιλάει.
But for this kind of technique, what you're going to be part of curriculum.
Using their chair to sing.
Ευχαριστώ.
So they tend to be like more sitting on what did you think? One thing is actually come up. And this helps me a lot.
Yeah. So just answer the last one. What about clarity, design? What's the communication? What's right? It's like
Yes, there's going to be more.
That's the rule normally in all the chemistry departments. You have a written guideline, which is what we also did. And then you have to produce a report. So everything you see here, normally it's done by report. So it's the same. I did this with that, I see this and that, I saw this. So this is the things for 99% of all chemistry departments.
Watching the video, you may start the video time to so another possibility of watching the videos. Split it in separate parts.
I think it's time to come back to the plenary session.
Kind of students have to think about that they do for someone else, maybe that they doesn't know about the topic. How to attract to others.
Would you like to share a few strengths of such videos? Let's ask one group, perhaps if you noticed any strengths. Did you notice any strengths of asking students to create such videos, and are there any strengths? It would be interesting if everybody said, I don't see any strengths there. Yes?
I thought it was a strength that there was some written text in the video. For example, if a substance was added, it was written on the video, volume grams of certain substance added.
Yeah.
Backing up the video and the spoken text by some written text.
So this is semiotic cohesion. So you see something and you know what it is, and you also know the name, and sometimes it mentions the theory behind it. So that binds things together in one go without writing 2 or 3 paragraphs trying to explain what each of these is. Yes, very good point. Any other strengths you've noticed?
I think the group there has a very nice point of collaboration, what you said, of groups.
We think that the main advantage of this type of presentation is that people, first we don't know who is going to watch the video, because sometimes people who are not specialists might be just interested in organic chemistry. And when you visualize everything, you have the idea which of the scientific materials or ingredients, but we have to call it scientific materials, thank you, and in which aggregate condition are they? Are they powder or liquid? And also the techniques of taking with the pipette.
And the way you do that, because there's a procedure.
The form of the glosses, because
Yeah.
in chemistry some of the glosses are round, some are pyramids, and how do you shake it with the movement? So everything is very easily acceptable to the
Understand the process, yeah.
easily to be understood, but if you're not a
A
specialist.
parallel example in real life, as I think you mentioned, is like a cooking
Cooking, yes.
recipe that you see on YouTube. Okay, it's the same concept. Imagine if you have the books, but you have written the recipe and you watch it on YouTube. Doing a nice cake.
And also,
Okay.
the benefit is that you can just pause the video, and you can go back and watch it again, because sometimes you can skip something that is associated with a certain step.
Yes?
I was just thinking, could be a strength, could be a weakness, probably more a weakness. I really like in your video when you're stopping on certain places to have a quiz or a question, and so basically bring this 3-minute video.
Yes, Edpuzzle, that was a very good, yes, very good way to do.
Of shorter videos, like here are the main points. This is what you
Exactly.
have learned by the now. This repeat.
Yeah. This is the point I wanted to make based on your previous comment, but thanks for adding this because it links everything together. Earlier on, you talked about cognitive load theory, right? Depending on the audience, people will see this differently. Those that are not chemists will be inundated with information and overwhelmed, and they will think, oh my God, this is Chinese to me, or Greek even, you know. But what I'm trying to say is that for a chemistry student who is experienced, if it goes to the right audience, and it is for undergraduate students who are trying to be, let's say, invited to be part of this lab, then they will see how easy these reactions are, because they are easy for them, not for us who are not chemists. We get confused, but for them, they are something quite straightforward. And because everything is explained in this way, it is also assumed to be easily understood by the students. Let me move on to the next question. I would like this group to tell us one criterion that you thought would be important in order to assess a video like this.
Maybe structure.
Structure.
More structure. Like introduction, the main part, and the conclusion.
Did you like the introduction there?
There was no introduction.
Very good. So we told them one of the instructions was to talk about what, how, and why. And we said to connect this with SDGs, sustainable goals, and so. But this didn't quite happen. They didn't make the link to society. It was mentioned a few times, but they thought, you know, they decided to exclude this in their initial videos. Any other criteria that you would like to add when you evaluate things like that?
It is a very practical one. Probably play the video to colleagues from the same cohort here and ask them to reproduce the experiment. If they can do it, perfect. If they cannot, they're close.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Is a yes or no.
That's a good one. It could be something that adds to the replication of experiments as a control. Yeah, because reproducibility and replicability are the two most important things, I think, in the chemistry field. So that's a very good criterion. Yes, thank you. Any others? Yes?
I think maybe also at the end to bring it all together. It's a bit like the introduction, so your key takeaways, key things.
Key takeaways, yeah, that's it. Yeah, bring it all together and add key takeaways. That's very good. Any groups manage to discuss what excellence would look like, or is that covered now because we talked about the criteria? Okay, then that's some of the criteria that we came up with, and we discussed with them online. It wasn't in a session. We didn't really train them because we used Perusal, and that was part of the interaction we had with them. So one of them was scientific accuracy, and the other one was multimodal cohesion. The fact that you noticed that there are two modes, video, sound, words, technical words, jargon, all together, and that in its combination provides meaning. Creativity and purposeful design. So like you said, structure is important, and that connects to that because it tells a story. This story needs to be clear, basically. Unless you have structure and you know what you're doing and why you're doing it, it doesn't really make sense. And you need to know your audience. You need to know who you're talking to. And we did tell them it's going to go on YouTube and it's going to be open to everyone, but the idea was to create it for their classmates and not the whole world. Yeah.
I was just thinking safety features. Do not do this at home.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
You said something extreme. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. Caution and precautions are very important in chemistry, and it's not only to do it at home because they are a safety guide, very strict, very accurate safety guidelines. These were absent from most of the literature, I would say. You are very right.
Now we're going to ask you to watch one more video and now assess it. Decide the criteria that you want to keep and give it a mark in your groups and say, this video was not good because of this, and that, or it was fantastic and we absolutely loved it for this reason. I don't think it's the second case, I'm not sure. So the question is, watch one more video, use your group's criteria to evaluate it, and use your criteria as a rubric. And there is a point in doing that. If you're using a rubric and you don't just use it for you, but you use it also as a guideline for your students, then it has this two-way of achieving two ends, basically helping them align with the learning outcomes as well, align with the expectations of the course, and also it asks them to co-create if you decide to do these rubrics with your students. Because basically they clarify expectations and standards, they show transparency on your part, there's no surprises, you can't mark them down for things that you haven't told them in advance. And then it makes them focus on meaning and not medium, because depending on the criteria you use, they realize that you won't be impressed by fancy tools and fancy video techniques. But there are also other things that that count as valuable model affordances, and they need to realize what are the model affordances that they have in place. And you can't do many things with just the video or just the sound, the narrative, or just the written text. So it's a combination of those things that achieves better results. And as I said earlier, self-regulation and metacognition, they align with, they're trying to regulate. And if you combine into this peer feedback, it has, we think, better results. But that's another presentation to make. This is not part of today's task. So this is what you need to do now. We're going to show you this video, and we would like you to see, we would like you to give it a mark, but create that rubric in your groups and then see, are there any important elements missing? How accessible is this video to diverse learners? Because accessibility is part of being inclusive. And would you revise your criteria after you saw that video? Okay? Would you like to do the criteria first? No, I think we should watch the video first and do all that afterwards. Dino, I'm not sure if I'm in the right place. Yeah, that's the one. Now you have 5 minutes to discuss the criteria upon which you assess it and mark it down. Oh, sorry, give a mark.
How do you grade?
Exactly. I want you to decide the criteria first.
Yeah, I mean, how do you grade?
Oh, 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10.
We are 1 out of 6.
Ah, good question. That's a good question.
And what is 10 is, I suppose, excellent.
10 is excellent, and 5 is a pass. 50% is a pass. What's your pass?
It's 3.
It's the same.
Same.
Yeah.
English?
It's suitable for this something else, I think. Yes, what you can evaluate in here. I don't know.
Important elements missing, some explanations. And for diverse what I should do, people who are cast out,
H5B shown something. Yeah. I don't know if I say
mark based on criteria. Have you decided? Yes? Okay. Below average. Okay, can I have your attention now so that we can all listen to what other people have to say as well? So let's start with this group if you don't mind.
I agree with you.
What was the outcome? What's the verdict?
we didn't like the movie. The music was distracting, no explanations were given. In the beginning, there was a short introduction what it is all about, but that was it. No further explanations, loud music which distracted you from the topic.
I love the fact that you say music was distracting, no explanation. Yeah. Anything else that you would like to add and you noticed, and that was the reason why you thought I will mark it down even more?
There is no information about materials and for someone that's not into chemistry.
It doesn't basically allow for a certain audience that needs to watch and learn from this. It's purely, as you know, sometimes we use images for decorative purposes that serve no function. It's the same thing, a video that serves no function because nobody can learn from that unless you're already there. Your professor can see, for assessment reasons, they can see and say, oh yeah, they've done it well, well done. And they will give them a 10 out of 10 if the objective is to just check performativity. But is that what we want?
There's no information about time between the steps. It's like everything's in a row.
Exactly.
Yeah. Structure.
And any other criteria in this group?
Well, we talked about effectiveness and efficiency of the project. And I had a question when it says in the title it's multimodal, but it was only video, so there's text or voice
Yeah.
disinformation.
Exactly. And this is a realization that comes after you see a poor example, let's say that. It's not multimodality, it's not about videos. Most people think it's about videos, but it's not about videos. It's about combining all the different modes that are available and make sure in Cope and Calantis they call it multimodal synesthesia, the ability to move from one mode to another and make sure it makes sense, or we can call it multimodal cohesion if you use other schema theories and so on. But I think, Dino, you would like, oh yes.
I think that we shouldn't be so severe because technically, the way of recording was much better. So this is a benefit. Because during the first video, I know that they are not professionals, but they did pause and then they continued and there was shaking.
Yeah.
And here is what's much more professionally recorded. Let's say some benefits.
Thank you. Someone asked this to the students.
If we have a couple of minutes, I will show you a professional video, a YouTube video afterwards to compare. The time, yeah, okay.
We were not very strict about the time limit.
Yeah.
But we did tell them 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we said, okay, 5, because they were complaining. They said, there's no way we can do this in 3 minutes. And yeah.
Yeah. So as Kaya said, initially we didn't believe that making a video would be so complex because you have, at least in the multimodal teaching, to get into combination linguistic capabilities, visual, oral, gestural, and spatial, and all of this. And just letting them, please, this is our guidelines, make a video. It's so complex. And we are judging this now from outside, but being there, doing the experiment, and from no professionals, with a limited time, because it was a 2-time lab work, and because our schedules were a bit busy with Kaya, we squeezed them a little bit to learn new databases like Perusal, making the videos, recording, communicating with other members of their group, okay?
Providing peer feedback to each other.
Yes.
So it was like a lot of pressure in such a short time.
And we're wondering with Kaya if this is inclusive after all.
We don't think so. So we're going to change it. We're going to do it again.
This is what we're commenting this
Exactly. This is what we think as well. But we have loads of data, and we just want to prove, that based on what they have experienced, perhaps that's not the way to do it. But perhaps it can be inclusive if you use it for educational purposes, the one video, and to review or use break it into parts, like you said, and ask them to reflect.
I was just thinking that the second video would be nice. Could actually be used before exam as a quick review of all the steps, because you should have been already prepared, you should know, so you just watch it quickly and just say, this is what I do.
Yeah, or normally before labs, the tutor in the lab explains them what they will do. So maybe such type of videos could play a role in this.
And the rhythm of music, when it's 2 minutes, music slower. When it's 35 minutes,
Yep.
jazz.
Yeah. Exactly. And this is what. So what we learned, inclusive approaches begin with recognizing learner diversity. Multimodal assessment reveals richer evidence of student understanding. Multimodal assessment criteria can guide student action and expect outputs. Again, this is something that we didn't have a lot. Efficiency in using multimodal affordances requires adequate training. We didn't train them at all.
No.
Rubrics can be co-designed and negotiated. Videos shift the focus from reproduction to transformation. One critique that we have in our interviews, I will make a spoiler alert because our assessment, they told us some, quite a high percentage, that the videos distract them from a lab report as they used. Now, it's because they have used, created because they were spending much time to make a good video, holding the camera in a nice angle, be careful of the background, and not paying attention to the science. This is what they told us. And this is something we also didn't consider at the beginning, but we learned it afterwards. And I fully get it.
So you see, we are a very good example of reflexivity and vulnerability. We show you what didn't go well, and we just want to share this with you because we think it's important. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I can show you a professional video, by the way, of a YouTube, just to see, because we have some time, I think.
I've just requested my husband to send me the video my boy created several years ago on how to cook carbonara.
Perfect.
So we can assess.
This makes. I think this is it. So this.
Major use of nitrobenzene is for the production of aniline, and this
is a professional YouTuber with 9 million prescribers.
Synthesizing nitrobenzene, but it's very important for me to point out that the nitrobenzene is
narrative, structure,
and it must be handled with care.
Stable camera.
So with that being said, now we'll jump into the synthesis. The procedure that I used was the synthesis of nitrobenzene taken from Arrowhead. For the synthesis, I used 35 milliliters of concentrated nitric acid, 40 milliliters of concentrated sulfuric acid, and 30 milliliters of benzene. I also needed a little bit of calcium chloride as drying agent. 35 milliliters of concentrated nitric acid was added to a round bottom flask. With stirring was added 40 milliliters of cold concentrated sulfuric acid. The sulfuric acid was cooled by putting it in a freezer for about 30 minutes. To an addition funnel was added 30 milliliters of benzene.
Blurry background.
When the acid mixture was cooled in an ice bath, the benzene was added dropwise. It is important to keep the temperature below 55 degrees Celsius at all times. The reaction that we're carrying out is shown above. The mixture of sulfuric acid and nitric acid allow for the nitration of benzene to produce nitrobenzene. Because our goal is only to nitrate the benzene once, we keep the temperature low in order to prevent the dinitration and the trinitration of the benzene. This is not only for yield purposes, but also for safety, as the di- and trinitrobenzenes are actually explosive.
Basically, this is it. I don't know how to go into the data, just to have a look and taste. Because I'm following this YouTuber, and this comes how this multimodality evolves. The initial videos of this guy was not as good as this. So he was also learning. The stable camera was not is introduced lately. In the beginning, he has also his own camera, which was a little bit distracting. They were not nice. He has a nice voice for narrative, it's okay, but the background was not blurry, and there were no safety issues. Anyway, so this is just to consider.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We still have time for questions or comments.
Well, I think that this project was I don't know, good example that in this work life what we are living, your students, I don't know, maybe benefits this kind of like skills what they did learn doing this video, like work life skills, you know, and also the cooperation between themselves.
We were preparing, and in fact our modules were sinister because we are preparing a pool of students for an Erasmus project we hope to get accepted in September about creating multimodal videos for educational purposes in primary schools. So we want students to be ready, so when we actually take them on board, they don't know that yet, they will be ready, they will have done some, they will have gone through the process and the peer review, and it will be easier then to make that.
And as I told you in this group, we reshuffled a bit the students, okay? We didn't allow them to make groups with their friends, they were random. So they have to learn about the new guy next to them, understand the peculiarities and strange things that a personality of someone could have, and force them to collaborate.
Yeah, if I may say, to design, to create these videos, you have to have a lot of knowledge about the cognitive psychology and how the cognitive system works, and memory of primary school student works. I mean, working memory can get on up to 7 units of information, so you have to know all that before you create a video. No?
Yes, definitely. Definitely, and this is why we want them to have done something that we give them feedback to, and this is going to be implemented as a trial in schools, and we get feedback from the students, from the teachers, so that we get to a point where we actually can provide a guide based on people's experience and feedback to understand what is it that makes a good educational video for this particular target group that we are talking about.
Yeah.
So it's a long journey ahead of us. If they do accept it, that would be the case. Yeah.
And also keep in mind that chemistry students, you maybe know better, they are completely untrained to this type of thinking. They have only one course, 2 courses of educational or pedagogical, if they have it. And that's it.
That's why
Their whole life is in this lab.
Yeah.
Okay.
go outside.
Yeah, okay, you know what I mean.
Let's do that. Let's go for lunch.